Hello, my name is Sandra O'Connell. I have been teaching technology classes for the Reston Community Center for nearly 20 years. And for more of the wonderful programs that we offer, you can go to restoncommunitycenter.com. Today's class is a really fun one. It is called Streaming Entertainment. You may have heard of streaming entertainment, but not know what it means. Or you even may be using it, like Netflix perhaps, but not know some of the ins and outs. So the topics we're going to cover today are going to make you a master of streaming entertainment. So the topics we'll be going over are, what is streaming? What do you need to view a streaming show? How do you select a streaming service? How much does it cost, an important factor. And then, once you have a service, how do you find the shows that you want to watch? Well, definition. What is streaming? Streaming basically means using the internet to deliver the content rather than the broadcast airways or cable. So everything comes through an internet connection. And it delivers content to a television, to a desktop, a laptop, a tablet, a phone, any mobile device, as long as you have the internet connection. So it's delivery through the internet. Now, the shows are available on demand instead of on a schedule, and that's one of the great advantages of streaming, is that you can pick the time and the place when and with whom you want to watch. Another factor about streaming is it has generated a whole lot of new organizations, companies that are delivering what's called content. And there are now more than 200 of them, which is great in terms of the amount of content, but difficult because it makes it rather confusing. One factor to remember about streaming is the internet is not governed by the FCC. So the content may be a little more violent, a little racier, or have language more than what you would find on television. Just be forewarned. So, to view a streaming show, what is it that you would need? You need some kind of a receiving device. So again, that could be a television, it could be a laptop, it could be a tablet computer, or you can use a smart TV or a regular TV. As long as you have a device, an internet connection, and you want an account, you have to sign up for an account, and you need a remote control to help you with the navigation, even more so than with a regular television program. So that's what you need. People often ask, do I need to buy a smart TV? Do I need a new TV? The answer is not necessarily. If your TV was manufactured after 2005, it has what's called an HDMI port, which is the one with the kind of odd shape to it. That port means high definition multimedia interface. As long as you have one of those in the back of your TV, you can buy a device that looks something like this. Here's one, and here's another one. This is the Google one. And you may need a cable that goes with it. Depends on how it comes. You always want to check, if you're buying one, that you've got the interface cable as well. And these devices are available from a number of different companies, Roku, Amazon, Google, and they range anywhere from $30 to $100. You can look online or through Best Buy and find one that works. Now, another option is to have a smart TV. A smart TV means that the internet connection is built into the television, so you don't have to have one of those devices. The newer models of the smart TVs all include voice recognition tools as well, so you can talk to it rather than being totally reliant on the remote. It's a very easy way to access streaming services because, as we'll see when we do the demonstration, you just click a button that says Netflix and up it comes. So it makes access pretty easy. Think about a smart TV, however, there's one caution you might want to consider, and that is that the processor inside smart TVs that takes the signal in is slower than the one that uses these devices. So you may not notice it, it may not be significant to you, but just think about that. If you already have a TV and can get one of these devices, you'll be just fine. And the streaming devices like this tend to have a little easier user interface. Once you're in the smart TV, it may be fine with the ones that are built in, which is usually Netflix and Amazon Prime. If you get to looking at channels other than that, then the moving around and navigation can get a little bit tricky. So this is a little easier to manage, but it's a bit of a trade-off. Everybody needs to think about what's best for their household. Now, how do you do streaming on a computer or a mobile device? You don't have these built-in functions. It's, again, fairly straightforward. Whether it's on a laptop or a tablet, all you do is set up a streaming account. If you've already set it up for your television, then you don't need to redo it again, but you do need the password and for the account. And what you do is you go in and download, it's an app. So you go into Netflix.com or whoever, Roku.com, download their app, put it on your mobile device, and then enter your account name and the password. So that's what it takes to be able to do it on any kind of a device. And you can see the advantage here, which is in a household with multiple people and different tastes, you can be looking at a program on PBS on the television, and someone else, a younger crowd, can be looking at something on Disney in another room. So it gives you a lot of flexibility. Well, one of the things you need to do is learn how to use the remote. Now, I know that may sound a little odd because you've been using a remote for a long time to select programs and to change channels. However, with streaming TV, the use of the remote is a little more complex because you need to not only select a service, you need to select a show. Many of these shows have multiple seasons, multiple episodes. So to get to episode 5 in season 3 of The Big Bang Theory, you're going to have to do a few of the maneuvers. And each one of these remotes tends to work a little differently, but there are a few things they have in common. So let me show you what they have in common. This is the remote for the TV we'll be using today, but here are the things they have in common. They will have a power on and off button, of course, we're all used to that. One of the things to look for is the little microphone, and that means that it is voice activated. So you can press the microphone and say, find Downton Abbey, and it'll go look for it. So it's a way to do searching. There's several other ways, which we'll look at in a minute. And then one of the things you do once it finds a show is you'll be looking for an OK button. And that's usually right there in the middle. Sometimes it'll say OK. Other times it doesn't. You just have to look at the remote. But you'll need to press. That's like saying select when you're on the computer. The other thing to look for are where are the arrows. So there will be arrows. Now here they're real hard to see because it's black on black. Sometimes they're red, but there'll be an up, a left, a right, and a down. And again, you need to do a little practice with your remote to see what it does and watch the screen to see what it'll outline it so you know that it's been highlighted. And it just takes a little bit of practice, but it's something I recommend you pay attention to. And then on some of the remotes for the smart TVs, you will find there's a button that's for Netflix, and there is a button for Amazon Prime. And all you have to do is press that to get to it rather than going into an app or a tile on a computer to select it. So a little practice with the remote actually will help you quite a bit. So let's figure out how to search for some shows. So let's look at just how this works on the TV. There are several ways to get to one of these channels. If it's Netflix or Amazon, it's probably on the remote, so you just press the button. Otherwise, you would turn it on, perhaps click on a tile on a computer. There's different ways to do it. So I'm going to click the Netflix button. And it's going to come up because my account has already been set up in there. And so now I have got a whole range of programs that are going to come up. So we can click on a program, or you can go over and they're going to ask you different questions. You can go over and look at what's new and what's popular, and it'll come up and show you what those shows are. But what I'm doing is when you get to something and you want it, and you see how it's highlighted, now here it's in white, and other ones it might be framed in yellow, then to select it, you do have to press the OK button. And in this case, it's in the middle of this remote. So now it's showing me some of the shows that are popular right now. And here's one, here's a movie, Moneyball, here's a new show, Emily in Paris, it's a new one. Netflix is really good about creating new content. So, and you can look at down here, and you can also use the arrow buttons to go down. I'm using the down arrow button. Or if I want to go across and see what else is there, see how this is highlighted? Then I can, and watch, I hope you can see it, I'm using the right arrow key to keep going over to different programs. And here we're going to keep going, or I can go down. And here's new episodes of a program that's been on regular television. And all right, it's highlighted, so how am I going to get to it? I'm going to press OK, or the select button, and here it is. Now, what you'll find in the programming, particularly television programming or some of what's called short series, they have several episodes. So you need to know how to pick the episode. Sometimes it will track for you and it'll come up, let's say you're on episode 3 and it'll show you that, but it's not all that consistent. So you want to know how to get to an episode. So see here, it's highlighted. Then I'm going to come down with the arrow to say more episodes and hit the OK. And then it's going to come up and show me what the episodes are. I'm using the down arrow, come down, and it's giving a nice short description of each one of the episodes. So that usually gives you some kind of a memory jog to know whether you've seen that episode. Or in many of them, it'll show you either a blue or a yellow line that means that you've already seen it. So I'm going to use the down arrow to come down. I'm going to come down one more, and then I'm going to hit the OK and the select, and that's how I get to an episode. It's really important to know how to do that maneuvering when you're in programs that have different episodes and different seasons, particularly some of the longer seasons ones. If you were watching, say, Grey's Anatomy or Big Bang Theory, they have very long seasons. So then, if you saw I just clicked the down arrow, and you can see down here, I don't know if you can tell, it's telling you how much you've already seen. And on many of them, there'll be, your remote, you have to get to know how to do it. You can fast forward or go back a little bit. So the remote is an important part of how you're going to maneuver. Now, I'm going to try something else. I'm going to press the microphone button and find Grey's Anatomy. Now that's a show I know is on Netflix, and here it comes up. And very often what they do is when they find a show is they sometimes find shows that are related to it, like Private Practice has some of the same characters. So now, but the thing it doesn't do is get you to an episode. So if you said season 3, it usually won't do that. What it'll do, and again, it's highlighted, I'm pressing the select or the OK, and I'm going to say, where it says more episodes, see, it's showing me here, I'm season 15, but here it's more episodes, and that would allow, if I press that, then that allows me to come back up and select this. And now I'm going up to select episodes. To select a different season, I have to come over using the left arrow and then come back up. So it's a combination you can use of your voice activation and using the arrows and the select on your remote. And that's what my earlier slide said, get to know your remote. Another way to search for a show, in addition to using the remote or the voice activation, is to use the search box. All of the services will have one of those search boxes, usually at the top of the screen, like it is right here. And you know that's what it is because it has the magnifier at the end here. So this is a tablet which detaches from a keyboard. So I typed in White Collar, which was a program on USA Channel a number of years ago. And I typed it in, and it brought the show up, and then it allows me to select episodes, and because this is a touch screen, I can do right now, and it says on it, watch now, free with ads. So what you'll find out, and we'll talk a minute about pricing, is that some programs are included in a subscription but may have ads. They're not usually as long as the ads on commercial television, but they can be ads, and interestingly, you cannot fast forward through the ads. So here we have, I can just tap on this episode, and it'll say watch now, and by tapping, I've highlighted it, and here it is. And then you'll see this little arrow, which means you want to start the show. And now it's looking for that program, and it is coming up with
she's no longer an issue.
the show, okay? So that's how you do with a search box. I just showed you a number of different ways to find a show. That is, you can use the microphone, or you can type, or you can use the search function in the streaming service, or you can also just go on the internet and do a search, or here's a really neat shortcut, which is use one of the guides to streaming applications. There's several of them. Here's one called Just Watch. So if you go to that, and you can do it on the internet, or you can download it onto a device, justwatch.com, and then you can put in the name of a show, and it'll come up and show you which of all the services it's on, and whether or not it's part of a streaming, if you've paid for, or whether or not there's an extra cost. So this is a really neat shortcut, justwatch.com. Well, how do you pick a streaming service? Well, there are a number of ways to think about it. I like having a series of questions. What kind of shows do you like to watch? Are you a sports fan? Do you want to watch documentaries, history, drama, crime shows? And what new shows do you want to watch? You may have heard or had recommendations of shows, or this is a good way to try some things that perhaps you've not seen. It's important to think about how many screens you want to have at one time, meaning if you have a household of one person, you probably only have one screen going at a time. But in a household with several people, someone may want to be in another room watching a different program altogether. This is a great solution. So one person could be watching a sports program on a regular TV, and someone else could be in another room, one of the grandkids, looking at something on Disney. So you also want to think about what age groups are in your household, because some of the channels kind of tilt one way or the other. Obviously, Disney Plus is the one that's going to be most related, but there are many others for children as well. Do you watch sports? Sports programming is typically not a part of most of these channels, so you'll want to think about how important that is to you and which sports, and there are a number of specialty sports channels. And then there's what budget will you consider. Each one of these is going to add some cost to your budget, and it's on a monthly basis. One of the pluses about streaming programming is it's not a long commitment. So you can sign up for a month, and if it doesn't have the program you want, or you're going to be away or not be able to watch for a couple of months, then just go in and turn it off. So it allows you the ability to watch for a given amount of time, and most of them will have a free trial period. Disney does not, but the others have either 7 days or 30 days as a free trial period. So Here's some of the more popular ones and what they're really good at. This is from a recent PC magazine, the fall of 2020. Netflix is really strong on best original shows. They do a lot of original programming. The Crown has gotten a lot of attention, very high budget program. They have done a lot of new programming, but they have a big array of movies and TV programs as well. Hulu has a nice mix of both live programming and some of the programming on demand. They have some original programming, but not a whole lot. Hulu has one of the best collections of the old-time television programs. Peacock is new, and a certain amount of it's free. They have movies, and they have some of their television programming. That is, Peacock comes from NBC, so it has some of their programming, but not all. Fubo is one that's for sports, and so Disney's family. So you can see that each of these has a strength. They all have a range of programming, though, so you want to think about what's going to work best for your family and your interest. Here is the critical part, pricing. Unfortunately, they do not all price alike, so it's very difficult to compare them. You really have to go on what is it that's important to you. So in summary, here are the 5 of the most popular. Here's their base price as of fall of 2020, just some features to know about and a little bit about their content. Netflix is $9 a month, and it's standard definition. That means the programming is pictures of lower quality than what we're used to today. So it's giving you lower quality picture. For $13, everything is what's called high definition, which is a higher quality picture, and you get 2 screens at the same time. And for $16, you're going to get the same thing, but 4 screens. Amazon Prime, if you have Amazon Prime as a subscription, it comes with it. If you don't and you want this, it's about the same price. It's about $9 a month. But be aware that some of the content in Amazon is not free. So you might be watching certain things or go and pick up a movie and then it'll say $2.99 or $5.99. So you always have to be aware that some programming may have a cost, but you can be rented or purchased. Now, they have a big selection of movies, but just because they have all of them doesn't mean they're all included in the Prime Video membership. They are available, though, for additional fees. So Hulu is one of the most popular ones. They have a very large base, and it can be $6 a month with ads. Or for $12 a month, there aren't ads, and you get 2 simultaneous streams. And Hulu has a great selection of television shows, a really good range going back some of the 60s and 70s and 80s. Disney Plus, no free trial, $7 a month. And they're going to be using Disney as an outlet for major film releases now because at this time, movie theaters aren't open. It's unclear which ones they'll have a charge for. Some of them they may, others they may not. But you do get 4 simultaneous screens for this one, so people can be watching from different places. And it does include the National Geo channels. And they own a lot of the television production studios, so they have a wide range of content available, in addition to children's programming. Peacock from NBC is the newer player on the block. You can, for free, get 7,500 hours of programming. It doesn't mean that all of NBC TV is on here. It's going to vary, and they keep changing what they're offering. You can pay $5 a month and get ads, but it gets you more content. And if you want all of NBC with no ads, then it's $10 a month. So the emphasis, their emphasis is on their TV programming, which they have in their vaults, or they have a pretty strong movie list as well. So here are 5 of the basic ones. Overall, you might want to think about it this way, as 3 levels. Pick a base service, one of the ones that has a wide range of live, original, the programming that you and your household are going to want. Then you may want to think about one of the premium channels, such as PBS or Stars, which has specialty programming as well. And then you might want a specialty program, depending on your interests. Acorn offers British, Australian, and Canadian programming. There are other services available from other countries, so if you speak another language, you can look at other foreign channels. And VIP Box is just an example of a sports channel. So you want to think about building yourself a television or entertainment channel for yourself. Well, what do you do to sign up? First of all, you decide on which content based on what we talked about and the budget that meets your household's needs. Then you want to go in and set up a trial subscription and see how it works for you for a month. And you might, as I said, try one of these 5 as your base subscription. Be sure you record the username and the password because you're going to be using it at different times. And then if you sign up for a trial, make sure you note the date and when the trial expires, because they will kick in automatically, and they're relying on the fact that some of us don't check these dates, so you will be getting charged until you go in and cancel it. So it's important to track them. And when you have your trial period, look at a whole selection of the shows and sample them, and then decide whether you want to keep it, $6 a month, 7, 8, 9. But notice if you start adding these, you're going to be adding more and more to your costs. So you just want to keep track and see what's worth it for you. And you want to monitor your credit card bills while you're doing this. And then just enjoy. There's so much more that's available now. You have this incredibly wide selection of programming that allows a household, you don't have to fight over the remote anymore at all. You can each look at your own programming. And you have the power to choose what you want to see and when you want to see it. So if you happen to wake up at 2 in the morning and want to watch an episode or an old movie, you can do that. So it's when you want to see it, and you're paying for what you want to watch, because sometimes on these premium channels on television, you may want to watch one part of it or one programming, you don't care about anything else. Here, with streaming entertainment, you get to control it and management for yourself. It's a great way to enjoy a whole new range of creative programming. Go out and enjoy.